Talend Data Integration Developer exam dumps questions are valid in your preparation. Share some Talend Data Integration Developer exam questions here. 1. Which parameters are defined in file delimited metadata? Choose 2 answers. A. Position of the fields. B. Row separator. C. File path. D. Component with which the metadata is associated. 2. You built multiple jobs in Studio. Each uses its own TDB input component to connect to a common database server, but they all use different credentials. How should you configure the TDB input components? A. Set the property type to repository and replace the credential one in each component. B. Set the property type to built-in and set all the relevant properties manually. C. Set the database file to metadata. D. Set the property type to repository and use a common DB connection metadata. 3. Which statements are true about configuring the input sources of a TMap component? Choose answers. A. You can use the up and down arrows to interchange the order of the lookup tables. B. Thy main input source is always placed on top and cannot be moved within the TMap component. C. The main input source will always be placed on top by default. Hut ran be dragged to any position. D. The order in which the input sources appear on the map does not matter, provided the joins are configured correctly. 4. What determines the name of the TMap output row that delivers join rejects? A. The name is predetermined. It is always named inner join reject. B. The name is determined by the output table you create to catch the rejects. C. The name is configurable in the component view of the TMap component. D. The name is determined by the input table you create to generate the rejects. 5. In the TMap component, where do you set up a filter on the input fields? A. Match model parameter field for fine of the inputs. B. Expression field for a single column of the output. C. Expression filter in the output table. D. Match model parameter field for one of the main inputs. 6. How are contexts defined? A. They are automatically defined by the types of components used in the job. B. Talend Studio defines a default context, and you can define more as needed. C. You must define the contexts. D. In addition to a default context, Talend Studio defines a list of standard contexts you can use in your IONs. 7. Which factors can affect the context in which a job is run? Choose 2 answers. A. Context chosen by the developer when running the job. Context available in the Basic Run tab of Run Job section. B. T-context load component can change the context name in the course of the job execution. C. T-context dump component ran change the context name in the course of the lob execution. D. T-run job component can influence the context in which the child job runs. 8. Which statements are true about using the implicit context load feature in Talend Studio? Choose answers. A. Loads context parameters from a database table only. B. Loads context parameters dynamically at the time of job execution. C. Loads context parameters from both a delimited file and a database table. D. Loads context parameters from a delimited file only. 9. You are building a job that consists of two sub-jobs being sequentially executed, i.e. first sub-job completes successfully. Which component in the first sub-job triggers the execution of the second sub-job? A. Start component. B. Final component. C. Input component. D. Any component. 10. Which statements ain't true about a torn component? Choose two answers. A. Used alongside a T-log catcher in order for the log data collected to be encapsulated and passed on to the output defined. B. Used only in conjunction with the log4j feature. C. Used to trigger a warning often caught by the T-log catcher component for an exhaustive log. D. Used only in conjunction with I log catcher component.